Hello everyone, this is Hossam Bayoumi at the Tahkim School. Today's lesson is an English grammar lesson. This lesson for third intermediate grade. Okay? Today we are going to talk about question tags. Question tags. Here we have some definitions. Question tags are short questions at the end of the sentence. Okay? So the question tag here is a short question at the end of the sentence. The second definition is question tags form depends on the form of the sentence. Okay? So the question, if I want to make a question tag, so the form here depends on the form of the sentence. We use question tag to check if someone is true. The second use is to ask for agreement. How can I form or how can I make question tag? If the sentence has an auxiliary verb, we repeat it, we use it in the question. Okay? Here, auxiliary verb means or like, am, is, are, was, were, will, can. All these are called auxiliaries. Okay? So here in an affirmative sentence with a negative question, a negative sentence with an affirmative question. Here we have some examples to explain you more. To check if someone is true. Example, the meeting is at 10 o'clock, isn't it? Okay, isn't it here is a question tag. Okay, here we have in the sentence the auxiliary verb is, we transform it into a negative question, so is becomes isn't, and followed by the subject. Okay, this means this person checking if the meeting is at 10 o'clock or not. To ask for agreement, this is the second use. It's a beautiful car. This is the example. It's a beautiful car, isn't it? Isn't it here is a question tag. Here we have is an affirmative sentence. We transform it into a negative question, so it is becomes here isn't, and followed by the subject it. The subject it. Here we have some examples here. The program is filmed here, isn't it? The program is filmed here, isn't it? Here we have is in an affirmative sentence, so we transform it into a negative question isn't, and followed by the subject it. Okay? Here we have a negative sentence, isn't. We transform it into is, and followed by the subject it. Okay, is it clear? Here we have some questions also to explain you more. Ordinary TV is broadcast all day, isn't it? Okay, here we have the auxiliary verb is in an affirmative sentence, so we transform it into a negative question, is becomes isn't, and followed by the subject it. Okay, another example. Satellite receivers aren't made in China, are they? Here we have the auxiliary verb aren't in a negative sentence, so we transform it into a negative sentence, so we transform it into an affirmative into an affirmative question. So aren't here becomes are and followed by the subject they. They here is a plural subject, refers to receivers or satellite receivers. Here we have some questions. These questions for you to practice. Okay. As we said before, if I want to make a question tag, okay, first try to find an auxiliary in the sentence and ask yourself, this auxiliary is in an affirmative sentence or a negative form. Okay. Look at this example. Okay. Yes. Can you find it? Yes, great. Here we have the auxiliary verb will. Okay. Here will in an affirmative sentence, so we transform it into a negative question. So will here becomes won't and followed by the subject it. Okay. So the answer is yes, great. Want it. Another question. The match is taking place now. Look at the sentence as I said before. Okay. Do you find the auxiliary? Yes, great. This is the auxiliary verb is in an affirmative sentence, so we transform it to a negative question. So is here becomes isn't and followed by the subject. Here the match it. Okay. So the answer is yes, great, isn't it? Question number 3. The reporter hasn't started to speak. Okay, look at the auxiliary. Yes, great. Has here is an auxiliary verb. So it's in a negative sentence. We transform here hasn't becomes yes, great into an affirmative question. So hasn't becomes has and followed by the subject reporter here he. Okay, so the answer is yes, great. Has he? Number 4. You do want my team to win. Okay. Here we have, where is the auxiliary? Yes, great. This is do here in an affirmative sentence. So we transform it into a negative question. So do here becomes don't. Yes, great. And followed by the subject you. Okay, so the answer is yes, great. Don't you? Question number 5. I can finish my homework after the match. Yes, look at or look for the auxiliary verb. Yes, here we have can. Can here in an affirmative sentence, so we transform it into a negative question. Can becomes can't and followed by the subject I, so it becomes or the answer is yes, great, can't I? Okay, here we have the last question. The score wasn't 5 goals to 2. Okay, here we have the auxiliary wasn't here in a negative sentence, so we transform it into or we change it into an affirmative question. So wasn't here becomes yes, great, was and followed by the subject it. Okay, so the answer is yes, great, was it. Okay, this is the end of our lesson today. I hope you have enjoyed it. Best wishes, Hossam Mustafa Bayoumi.